What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be covering probably one of the least fun parts of owning an off-road machine, and that would be cleaning it. I mean, I guess this applies to any kind of vehicle. Just cleaning it is the worst. It's not a lot of fun, and you want it to be done probably as quick and affordably as possible. To make it affordable, I'm cleaning here in my backyard just with a power washer and my garden hose. So I'm not going to a car wash or anything like that. I picked up 3 of the cheapest car wash options I could find locally. The first one will be the Turtle Wax Power Car Wash. This stuff was fairly cheap. This is a 100-ounce jug and it cost this much. The second thing I'm going to test is Armorall Ultra Shine Wash and Wax. This stuff was pretty cheap, but you do get a little bit less of it. 1 pint of this costs this much. So the next thing I'm going to test is just standard dish soap. This is what I use a lot of times. I've used this, you can see, and it works well, foams up, but we're going to compare it to the other cheap alternatives that are actually made for washing vehicles. But you know, this is super cheap. You get 100 ounces of it and it costs this much. I just picked it up at Sam's Club, so we'll compare that. And then in my previous video, I've used Slick Super Concentrated Off-Road Wash. It works pretty good, but it's pretty expensive. There's 32 ounces of it, and it costs this much, which is quite a bit more compared to all the other cheaper alternatives. This video is not really about this, but I kind of wanted to have a baseline of, you know, what to compare it to, since I've used this previously and it worked pretty good. So yeah, let's get started. So I have 2 YXZs. I'm going to split them both in half with some painter's tape, and then we'll just clean a section of each one and just see how well it does. So we took the YXZs out and tried to get them really dirty. The trails were muddy. Fun ride, but of course when you have one YXZ following the other, one gets way dirtier than the other, so the YXZs aren't exactly at a comparable level. So the first YXZ, I'm going to use the Armorall Ultra Shine Wash and Wax against the Turtle Wax Max Power Wash. These are pretty comparable in price, and these are the ones I really want to see how well they do against each other. On the really dirty YXZ, I want to see what the absolute cheapest option, which would be the dish soap, will do against the most expensive option, which would be the Slick Off-Road Wash. And we've already seen this, so you know, I just want to compare, you know, get a baseline since we know how this stuff does, and just see if it's worth the extra money or if dish soap is going to work just as well. So it's going to be a pretty good comparison. So I'm going to kind of grade these washes on foaminess and coverage. Coverage is important because you want to get the vehicle covered as much as possible with the least amount of solution. So, you know, it's going to be cheaper in the long run. You can get more washes out of it. And foaminess doesn't really affect anything, honestly, but when you're using a foam cannon, it's really satisfying to see how foamy the vehicle is, and it matters to me. Then we're going to look at how well it actually gets the dirt off of the painted plastics, and then we're going to see how well it gets the dirt off of just your standard black plastics. We're going to look at water spots, which one leaves the worst water spots. Since I'm using just a garden hose, I expect there to be quite a few water spots in all of them. You can't really get around that with, you know, pretty terrible water. But we're gonna see which one does the best job, and then at the end we're gonna look at the overall shine and kind of maybe fadedness of the plastics and kind of give them a grade on that. So that's what I'm gonna look at. All right, so here's what we're looking at. This is the leading YXZ. So you notice the front's not all that dirty, but it does get really dirty towards the back. And I mean, the underside's really filthy and the black plastic is really dirty. You can see a lot of mud on it. The interior is pretty bad too. This is the one we're gonna compare the armorall versus the turtle wax. This one was the one that was in the back, so you'll notice it is a lot dirtier. This is the one we're going to compare the slick versus just standard dish soap, and I'll be really surprised if the dish soap even does half as good as the slick on this, because it is dirty and it is baked on there. I mean, it's been on there for a few days, unfortunately. All right, let's see how they compare. I'll start taping them off. All right, so I'm just using this Ryobi 3300 power washer. It's a gas power washer. It's old, faded, still works great. This Ryobi foam cannon is the other thing I'm going to be using. This is where I'm going to put all the solution. This thing works pretty good. It makes pretty much any soap or solution foamy, so hopefully it works good. On this passenger side of the first YXZ, I'm going to start with the turtle wax. Ooh, that turtle wax, that's a nice green color. I like that. All right, although I tried to keep my spray mainly to one side, there is a little overspray, and I think the doors will be the best comparison because none of the soap from the passenger side got over here to the driver's side. So I think we'll still get a pretty good idea of how each one performs. To cover half of the YXZ, it used half of this container in the foam cannon. So that's not too bad, really. Now we'll do the armorall on the driver's side of the first YXZ. I'll do a little more than half, just because I don't want to keep putting more back into the container. If it runs out, then we'll know it doesn't cover as well. If there's some left, we'll see how much better it covers. Kind of looks like a urine sample. It seemed to me when I was spraying that the turtle wax shot a lot further. It was a little bit thinner, so it covered a lot more area, but the armorall ended up being quite a bit foamier, but they ended up using about the same amount. We'll see how it performs, I guess. That's not very, you know, conclusive. So I'm gonna let both soaps sit on there for just a few minutes, and then I'll start with the passenger side and then move to the driver's side, just so each soap has roughly the same amount of time to sit on there. Now I'll start washing the armorall side. Now I got both the turtle wax and the armorall side sprayed off. When I was washing, it kind of felt like the turtle wax side cleaned off easier, and I could notice the dirt going away a lot better than the armorall side. So it's kind of neat the way you can see how they beat it up differently. The Turtle Wax has a lot of little beads of water. The armorall has a lot of large beads. I don't know which is better. I feel like maybe for water spots, probably more spread out would be better. I'm not exactly sure. But just looking at it initially, there's some dirt there. That might have been sprayed up afterwards, but yeah, there's still some dirt running down. A missed spot there. I mean, it looks pretty good. Yeah, the dirt where it's drying, you can see the dirt still coming through there. I tried to wash them an equal amount of time. All right, this side's looking a little bit cleaner, even though it didn't feel like it when I was washing, which is strange. But this one is a little bit more wet because this is the freshest, so they're still gonna have to dry to give it a real good comparison. But initially, this side actually looks cleaner. All right, we'll let the Turtle Wax and Armorall YXZ, we'll let that dry, and then I'll start soaping down the Slick Off-Road Wash and the dish soap YXZ. This one is a lot dirtier, so hopefully some more noticeable results on this one. All right, we'll start this one out with the regular old dish soap. You know, since this one was dirtier, I covered it like twice, and there's still a lot of dish soap left. I didn't put all that much in either. That covered a lot, and the foaming was excellent. That worked pretty good, actually. Still see a lot of dirt on there. I'm hoping it breaks it down, but this isn't really pressure washing as much as it is throwing soap. So, all right, I'll move on to the Slick Off-Road Wash. Now the dish soap and the Slick Off-Road Wash is on. Gotta be honest, the Slick Off-Road Wash did not foam hardly at all. I expected that to foam pretty decently. It's been a while since I used it, but I had to check the gun to make sure the foam cannon was on, because there was almost no foaminess. On a scale of most satisfying to least, that was definitely at the bottom. I like a good thick foam. Just, it feels like you're covering more and it's easier to see. That did not foam up much. It's still pretty dirty, but that's expected because there was a lot of dirt on this thing. I'll let it sit for a few minutes and I'll wash the dish soap side, and then I'll wash the Slick Off-Road Wash side. All right, I got the dish soap side washed off. Now I'll go over to the Slick Off-Road Wash side. All right, both of these are washed. Now I'll let them dry and we'll see the results. All right, both of them are mostly dry. Gotta be completely honest, I'm not super happy with any of them, but they were pretty dirty to begin with. But I mean, they're all very similar. So this right here, this is the turtle wax side. It didn't do too bad of a job. The YXZ has a lot of crevices, so you'll see a lot of runs and everything. That's just kind of how this thing always is. But it does have a lot of streaking from some of the water droplets coming off. There is some residual dirt, and I didn't take a ton of time washing these. I kind of just tried to give them all about the same amount of time. The more dirty YXZ did take a little bit longer, but I tried to keep them all kind of comparable. But yeah, I mean, the turtle wax compared to the armorall, I would say the armorall side actually looks better. This plastic doesn't look quite as faded and dirty. If you look on this side, there's still quite a bit of dirt and it looks a little bit more faded. But it's still got a lot of streaks and everything. It looks a bit better, but still, I mean, it's just dirty. The turtle wax side isn't too bad, but it's like it kind of held a lot more dirt than the armorall did. And just the plastic looks darker on the armorall side. I think out of the two, if I had to pick one to wash with, it would be the armorall. Even though I like the color of the turtle wax, because the armorall looks like pee. But they both foamed up really well. It was really satisfying. I mean, they're really comparable. There's not much difference between the two. So let's look at the dirtier YXZ. So this is the dish soap side, and this is the slick wash side. They both still look really dirty. The wheel well is dirty and faded on the dish soap side, and the same with the off-road wash side. Yeah, I mean, this side doesn't look terrible. There's still a lot of dirt on it. The wheels still have a lot of dirt in them. I mean, let's check out the other side. Yeah, the off-road wash side is still really dirty, to be honest. It's yeah, I don't know. I think if I had to go with one, it would definitely be the armorall. I didn't expect that because, you know, some other armorall products I've used I didn't like as much, but in this case it seemed to do a little bit better job. On this one, the cheap dish soap side looks just as bad as the expensive slick wash side. I can't tell any difference in them. I know the dish soap foamed up a lot better. The slick, I couldn't tell it was even going on. And yeah, I don't know. I'm liking the armorall the best, I think. The turtle wax did a really great job too. I think, honestly, for the price, I'd go for either one of those. It works really well. I was hesitant to use dish soap because it's not exactly made for washing the side-by-sides, but I've used it a long time and never had any issue with it. I've washed these YXZs hundreds of times, and they always come out with water spots and runs and then mist spots, and they never look real great after just washing them with any soap I've ever used. But I gotta say, the armorall definitely did the best. I mean, it looks really clean. I mean, it's still not to where I would like it, but I'm happy with that. But no matter what, you're not going to get all the water spots and everything off of it. I always have to use some after treatment. I always use SC1 because it works so well. But I'm going to clean these. I'm going to clean these one more time, deep clean them and everything, And then in the next video, I'm going to compare SC1 to Slick multi-surface shine and protectant. I've had a lot of people say that stuff works good. I think it's pretty similar price to the SC1, but I love SC1. So yeah, so in the next video, I'll compare these two after wash treatments and we'll see how they compare. I honestly don't see a reason you need to spend a lot of money on any car wash soap because they all, you know, do a fairly decent job. I would say in this situation, the Armorall definitely did the best. I say if I had to rank it, I would say probably the top would be Armorall, next would be the Turtle Wax, and then honestly the dish soap, and then the Slick Wash, which is, you know, opposite of how they're priced. So that's interesting. Yeah, I really wasn't happy all the way around with the Extreme Wash. I mean, it does its job, I guess, but for the price, I'll use dish soap. All right, hopefully this video was super exciting for you. Washing stuff is not the most exciting thing, but I thought it was super interesting that the Armorall and the Turtle Wax did a lot better job than the Slick off-road wash. I mean, that stuff, it works okay, but it's fairly expensive. I mean, it's decent, but yeah, I think if I had to buy more, I'd definitely buy the Armorall or the Turtle Wax. They both did a pretty good job. Honestly, the dish soap really didn't do that bad of a job. So, I mean, I really don't think your soap matters that much. I think the biggest thing is to make sure that you have a power washer that does a good job, because that's what I've noticed. I used to wash with an actual garden hose and hand towels, and that takes forever. A big turning point in cleaning things for me was getting a gas power washer. I've found that like over 3,000 psi is about where you want to be to get a lot more efficient cleaning. There's some electric power washers that are pretty high pressure, they work okay, but a lot of electric power washers just don't have enough pressure to clean things really well. So I think as long as you have a decent power washer, a lot of soaps are gonna work good for you. I'm still gonna search and try to find some soap that is just perfect and works a lot better than anything else. But as far as these ones, I think the Turtle Wax or Armorall are both really good cheap options, and they're made for cleaning vehicles, so I'd buy either of those in the future. And you can find them at pretty much any store, Walmart, any of your automotive stores. So yeah, check out the next video. It's going to be comparing the SC1 and the Slick Shine sprays. I think we're going to notice a lot of difference in that. I mean, it's going to be a good video. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if it helped you out, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some of our other videos. We have riding videos, some maintenance stuff, lots of modification videos. It's not only side-by-side content, just a lot of off-road stuff, sport quads, snowmobiles. We got a amphibious coot that we take out. Yeah, just a lot of content. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.